Do you know what makes this Liverpool team so special? No, it's not just the ability to grind out wins even when we're not at our best. And it's not just the fact that we're sitting at the top of the league either. What truly sets us apart is our ability to adapt to every team we face. We know how to exploit the spaces left by high-pressing sides like Bournemouth and Leverkusen. We can flip the scripts on teams just like we did against Brighton. However, Russell Martin proved today that he's just as ready to adapt to Arne Slot as his side abandoned their heavy possession brand of football in order to catch Liverpool on the break. Now, some might have said, but it's just Southampton, a team struggling at the bottom of the Premier League, with only 4 points and a single win. But just like both Manchester City and Arsenal, they were proven wrong today. In the Premier League, there's no such thing as an easy game, no matter who you're up against. So in today's video, we're going to break down how Arne Slot and his men managed to adapt once again and come out on top against a completely different style of football. Before we get started though, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and let's jump straight into it. It looks like Arne Slot picked up right where he left off before the international break, fielding the usual starting 11. However, it's becoming increasingly clear that players like Gakpo and Tsimikas, for example, have outgrown the label of bench players. They've shown that they can deliver top-level performances whenever they're called upon. The Reds lined up with Kelleher in goal, protected by what many would call the best centre-back duo in the league, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate, alongside Connor Bradley and Andy Robertson completing the back line. In the midfield, it was business as usual, with Ryan Gravenberch, Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai controlling the centre of the park. And up front, the familiar attacking trio of Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo and Mo Salah led the charge. This video is sponsored by Clothing. Clothing is a Liverpool clothing site owned by match-going fans. Each design is limited edition and is perfect to wear on a match day, on the terraces at Anfield, down your local, or cozy in the comfort of your own home. As stated, each design is limited edition, and if a product is showing out of stock, they will not be restocking the item, so if you have your eye on something, grab it fast. Lastly, Clothing wants fellow Reds to be 100% satisfied with their orders, so if there is a reason you're not happy, they will refund you with no questions asked. Head over to clothing.com or down into the link in the description to get all of your Liverpool merchandise. Anyway, let's get back into today's video. Now, believe it or not, Southampton currently rank 4th in the league for average possession, sitting at 56.44%, just behind Manchester City, Spurs and ourselves. Sure, the Saints haven't had the strongest start to the season, and while some might see their possession-based style as naive, we have to give credit to Russell Martin. Sticking to progressive ball-dominant philosophy after promotion, regardless of the opponent, should be applauded in a league as ruthless as the Premier League. Unfortunately for us and for Arne Slot, who most certainly set his team up today in order to nullify this possession-based style of football, Russell Martin was already 2 steps ahead, altering his side's tactics to make Southampton much more effective in transition and on the counter, rather than sticking to their possession-heavy approach. And this game certainly didn't go as we or Arne Slot expected. While Liverpool dominated the game with Southampton defending their area, the match was certainly more difficult than we were expecting. See, despite having 67% ball possession and almost camping at the Saints' half, we struggled to break down their compact 5-4-1 low block. We used a combination of a 4-1-5 and a 3-1-6 shapes to try and circulate possession and create pockets of space to take advantage of, but unfortunately we failed to do so. This was mainly due to one issue that we had on the left-hand side of our attack. See, with Gakpo holding the width and Jones not joining the attacking front line that often, we didn't have a constant presence in the left half space. This cost us the ability to have a player there that can combine with Gakpo, for example, to carve through the Saints' defensive lines. We should also mention that Robinson's presence on that side didn't help, especially when it comes to his technical ability. With our attempt to carve through their defense failing, we tried to invite Southampton players to press in our area, taking more time on the ball in kickoffs and attempting to create space behind the Saints' block. Thankfully, we were gifted a naive goal, with the Saints trying to impose their possession-based style. However, it was Jones and Szoboszlai who combined with a ruthless pressing sequence to win the ball back and score the first goal. Now, speaking of press, we already talked that this combination of the 4-2-4 out of possession shape with the passive and reactive pressing is just not working. The Saints managed to carve through us not once but twice, maybe even more times. This was due to our front pressing line giving them more than enough time on the ball, which allowed their midfielders to drag ours around and create space. Unfortunately for us, as we attempted to play through the Saints' press A misplaced pass earned the opposition a high turnover, from which they took advantage to get their penalty. Now don't get us wrong, we don't like to point fingers at anyone when mistakes happen, but don't you think that Robertson could have defended that sequence better? He was hesitant at jumping the player and waited till he was around the box to make the challenge. Now what's done is done, but let us know your thoughts in the comments about Robbo. And if you want a dedicated video about the player, also please do let us know. Now we hope that we'd go into the second half with a better approach, similar to basically all of our games this season so far. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Again, we struggled to break the Saints' low block with our front line failing to find solutions, and 11 minutes into the second period, the unexpected happened. Southampton did actually punish us with our own stick, launching a quick transition attack after we played our corner. Now let's be honest here, credit to them for using our best weapon against us, and they did that so perfectly. However, we would also like to thank the Saints for gifting us the 3 points. Let us explain. See, that first goal we scored was absolutely naive from Southampton players. The second can also be described in the same manner. See, as we explained earlier, we struggled to dismantle their low 5-4-1 low block as we found no space to penetrate it. Surprisingly, and after scoring their second goal, our opponents decided to switch their defensive system to a 5-2-3 mid-block. Guess what? If you give us space in behind, you better believe we're going to exploit it. And that's exactly what happened with Mo Salah meeting a long ball from behind from Ryan Gravenberch to take the Saints backline by surprise and equalise for the Reds. From that moment, we retained control over the game as we started to sustain more pressure in the final third. This was aided with the inclusion of both Luis Diaz and Alexis McAllister, who is arguably our best player to have against low blocks. And you know what? With sustained pressure, chances will eventually come. And again, thanks to Southampton players' naivety, we got our third goal for a penalty kick Mo Salah successfully converted. From there, and as the Saints started to chase the game, the Reds started to hit on the transition, trying to take advantage of the spaces left behind. And like Arne Slot always does, he introduced Wataru Endo in the dying minutes of the game to lock the midfield off, sealing the victory in our favour. Now for anyone saying that the Reds struggled against just Southampton, we would like to remind everyone, especially our rivals, that both Arsenal and City had issues in their games against the same team. And what's even worse is that they did so at their home ground, contrary to us who had to travel to the St Mary's Stadium. As we said earlier, there's no easy game in the Premier League, however we should once again highlight the issues our team is having. The usual 4-2-4 passive pressing created us more unnecessary problems, and our inability to break down low blocks also nearly cost us the game, if it wasn't for the Saints' naive approach. Yes, it feels good to be top of the league, but we should only consider ourselves as title contenders when we fix these issues. Now, whether these issues will be fixed on the training ground or through the transfer windows is still to be seen, but what's certain is that it needs to be addressed in order for us to move into the right direction. So, what did you make of our performance today? Do you think we should consider ourselves as title contenders, or is it still early to aim that high? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed today's analysis, why not hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.